It's Easter, which means it's time for fertility rituals, chocolate bunnies and historic peace deals. At least it used to be. Peace seems a long way off, no matter how many Germans go marching for it this weekend. And as for chocolate bunnies, well, they look a bit too Muslim for the AfD. Meanwhile, Friedrich Merz, Markus Söder and the SPD agree a new coalition contract. No rush, lads. And Konrad goes on holiday to hospital. Nurse, I'll have my drugs now, please.
In Berlin's heart, where news is unveiled, Megan and Konrad with German tales. The German news, it's tough to bear, but with Megacans, they're ready to head. Konrad, daily news at hand. Megan feels to spare, time to crack those cans. With each sip she takes, the mag is her shield. But will it last the news? 'Cause that was the deal.
Hello everyone, it's time for another episode of Megan's Megacan. I'm Megan, I'm here in Berlin on Good Friday. Happy Good Friday Agreement Day, Konrad.
Let's make it a great Friday.
Oh!
Not just a good Friday.
Yeah, it is the 27th anniversary of the Good Friday Agreement. I mean, technically it was probably on a different day. It's more fun to do it this way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also,
Happy Good Friday
you know,
agreement.
Karfreitag, the shops are all shut.
Yeah, it's that weird one where they're open again tomorrow, but then they're shut again for 2 days.
Yeah.
So you
Got
gotta
to be
gotta
on top of things.
Yeah, gotta concentrate.
Difficult
if you're shopping.
If you're participating in the great Berlin tradition of an absolute mega sesh over Easter, like most sensible people. Not us though. We're on the Alk Fries again.
Yes.
Quite boring.
Taking it easy
We're going to
for
have
a
to change
while.
the name of this podcast. Megan's boring old life. Okay, but I do have some Alkfrei Berliner Kindle.
It's not a Radler or anything. It's just
It's
a straight.
not a Radler.
Okay. Lovely. Ooh,
Oh
shit.
God, I'm sorry.
It's all
What's
right.
happened? I'm just going to narrate this. The beer has exploded. You don't get this with a mega can. All
No.
over the...
Are alcohol-free ones fizzier than normal
I
ones?
don't know.
Probably not.
Oh my God, mine's even worse.
Shit.
Shit.
This has started so well.
It's gone terribly. Fucking thanks, Jesus.
It's all over the equipment here. All right, I think we're fine. I haven't... Yeah.
Anyway, so
Yeah. That started well.
we're doing well. We're doing well.
Cheers.
I already started drinking. It's not even got any alcohol in it.
Well, we had to sip off the
Acres of foam.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realise people actually drank alcohol-free Berliner. 'Cause
It's quite new, I think.
Yeah.
Everyone's cashing in on the Alk-frei market.
The straight-edge kids.
I quite like it. It's a little bit bitter, like Kindle itself. But what I will say, it's not alcohol-free, but honestly, the most delicious Radler I've had yet has been the Berliner Kindle Naturtrub.
Oh.
Cloudy Radler. Even better than a Gusser, I would say.
Wow, good tip. I'll look out for those. So, news.
Anyway.
I had some other news that I didn't mention in the in our pre-talk. I forgot about it. Easter is traditionally the time of peace marches in Germany. Did you know
Is
that?
it?
Yeah, it's
Oh.
actually a British tradition. Started in 1959 when the anti-nuclear movement began in the UK, and it was adopted by the German peace movement, especially the anti-nuclear movement, and they go marching around Easter every year for peace. I mean, its big heyday was sort of in the 1980s, and as you know, just as the wall was beginning to crumble, and the freedom movements all over Eastern Europe and everything, and in those days, like millions of people were marching for peace and against nuclear war in the 80s, and there was a thing called the Krefeld Appell, the Krefeld Appeal. Demanding, I'm getting to the point, don't worry.
Okay.
Because this is where the point comes in.
I mean, it's all nice history.
So the Krefeld, which is a town, which I guess is where they wrote this appeal, in 1983, 4 million West Germans signed it, demanding that the West German government withdraw its promise to allow medium-range ballistic missiles to be stationed in Germany, in West Germany. And this is actually one of the key demands of this year's Easter marches, not 4 million people probably taking to the streets, because the pacifist movement generally is in troubled times, as you can imagine.
Yeah, because everyone's a fucking psycho.
Yeah.
So it feels quite scary to be like, let's not have any weapons.
So there's about 120 demos are taking place all this week and over the Easter weekend across Germany. About a few tens of thousands are expected to take part. But each one, they are very eclectic. Some of them have some fairly problematic demands, possibly unrealistic demands. Some of them say some strange things.
I just want to give Putin an Easter egg and a hug, and then everything will be fine. We should just listen to him more.
So so they're kind of there was a bit the peace movement in Germany, which was very strong in the old days, is now very splintered, and people are very reluctant to join it. Also, the AfD is is sort of taking a more pacifist stance. So obviously there's a lot of because the Green Party kind of grew out of the peace movement, and now the Green Party is the one party that they're on the side of remilitarization. But I should say there is obviously some good things to say about this, even though
about peace. Yeah, 100%. Like, I'm not... Good Friday Agreement, it's good.
And, some of the demands that they make are not problematic at all. They're saying we should have more diplomacy. We should at least try for different alternatives to simply buying loads of weapons all the time and rearming the whole of Europe. Again, they say things like, if we are going to rearm Europe, then we have to make sure that the weapons that we buy are purely defensive. They're not like medium-range ballistic missiles, which can, from certain places in Europe, you could bomb Moscow with, and they say we shouldn't buy those kinds of things. So there's they want to offer a few alternatives, perhaps, to those kinds of things.
That seems fine. I don't know. It's a really weird thing. I'm a pacifist. I don't think war is cool. I don't think imperial projects are cool. I don't don't know. It does just go to show what a different reality we're living in now. That almost seems like a sort of pie in the sky luxury, almost not quite old fashioned, but out of touch. Yeah, and I'm sure they're not. I'm sure that's thing, but I just, I don't know. I wish I could go out peace marching.
But just like you, the German population is also quite conflicted on this issue. So there have been surveys done in the recent weeks, and for the first time, a majority of Germans, 54%, fear that the country could get dragged into the Ukraine war, and there could be a major war. So that's a growing fear amongst the population. But only 1 in 6 of the population would be prepared to fight for the country.
I'm amazed it's 1 in 6. That's grand. Off you go, lads. Thank you.
So
it's this weird thing. Like, I was listening to a podcast the other day where they were talking about bring all manufacturing back to America, and we want these factories, everything made in America. And they're like, but do Americans actually want to work in factories? No one's going to do any of this work. If we are going to head into a more kind of militarized thing, possibly out of necessity, it's not like the olden days when you grew up thinking, that was part of, I guess if you're a man of a certain age, that was possible, I guess, for the first 3/4 of the 20th century in a lot of places, and America as well. And they're just we don't have that now. No one's going to be like, oh yeah, cool, I'll have to do my duty.
So,
and I'm sure a lot of people will, but I don't. Can we not just get drones? Is that not supposed to be the point?
What good are these? What is good is AI for if we can't at least let them, fly around?
Mind you, I do think they don't need to conscript, and I don't know, maybe they do. Ukraine's
Germany had conscription until 2011. For quite a long time, yeah. Although most people you could choose national service instead of, you could do civilian national service. So national service,
not is conscription.
You could choose civilian national service.
Yeah,
which most people did.
Yeah.
And then you go and work in old people's home and stuff. They are discussing this, but so far the government does not want to reintroduce conscription. But they do want to boost the Bundeswehr, which is currently 83,000 soldiers, and they want to get it up to 200,000 soldiers by 2031 through some kind of recruitment drive. And also there's going to be massive spending on weapons. And I mean, that's which brings us nicely to the coalition contract, which obviously agreed also while we were away. And yeah, one of the things in that, as we just saw on the bullet points, was that they want to strengthen the national defense industry, which is also already pretty strong, I should say. I mean, there's some really big companies in Germany making weapons already, which are being sold all over the world. Rheinmetall, Heckler.
They're going to make a load of money, aren't they?
Yeah, Heckler & Koch, which is they make rifles, and which is the standard rifle that NATO uses. A lot of rifles made down in a little town called Oberndorf in southern Germany, Baden-Württemberg's tiny little village, actually. Long history of weapons making. It's also the home of Mauser, which was the handgun that the Nazis made. Little village with a big
arm, little village, big arms.
Yeah, that's Heckler and Koch is. So they're going to be they're looking to make a big bucks in the coming years. What else did we have in the coalition?
Yeah,
contract?
so coalition, they came together, they've hashed it all out, they've done all the boring back and forth. Seems they already were kind of like, it wasn't like a fun time. from some of the, like, the vibes were not good. I mean, I want to be clear, we're using Markus Söder's bullet point list here because it's like a handy graphic. And obviously he's talking about all of these things. Big sticking points. What were they? I think taxes.
Yeah, well, I think for our listeners, possibly the most significant point is the dual citizenship will not be revoked as we feared.
Which is just as well, because I still have not got my paperwork in order. I have been looking at that and I'm just like, doop-de-doo.
So we can still become German and not give up our other nationality. But there is a compromise, isn't there?
Yeah, so they've taken away what they're calling the Turbo Einbürgerung. Right. So the idea that you could get your citizenship within 3 years.
Yeah, they're getting rid of that.
There seems to be quite a lot of feeling that the SPD drove a really hard bargain. And that sounds to me like the CDU are saying, because basically they're racist and they want to appear to their racists, and that's who's against the double citizenship, multiple citizenships. So they need to be able to say something to their racists. And so this turbo, people think that that's all like the people they don't want to come in here, which are like brown poor people. But actually your turbo is like, that's going to be like mega rich people with like loads of resources to learn German within 3 years. Like, who wants to do that? No one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I could be completely wrong. That is an entirely vibes-based thing. But I know those kind of like fast-track citizenship things, it's...
Yeah, we'll just have to see. They want to do a deportation offensive.
Oh, Jesus fucking wept.
Not quite clear what they mean by that, but they want to deport loads of people in some way. Yeah,
in the contract they've said, and this is like 141 pages or something, I think.
Oh, it's shorter than the last one.
Yeah, this is by German standards. This is like a leaflet, something on the back of a cocktail napkin. So they're doing this thing of like, we're going to look at a third state solution to...
Oh, that old Rwanda.
Yeah, or like a better version of that, but not the Rwanda, because Rwanda's obviously a terrible place to do that. Probably somewhere else, some other completely unproblematic country that is going to be willing for money to take a lot of vulnerable people and process them.
But it's never worked.
No.
Italy did this with Albania and it got stopped by the Italian courts because no one knows who has jurisdiction in those other places. So it's like in those third countries, it's always a legal disaster. And it just never. I don't know, like why anyone thinks that this is
also
possible.
Something that they've been saying that I've literally just learnt now doing the really in-depth research we've been doing for this episode.
While we're talking. Okay, good.
Literally, but there's some kind of EU law where in order to, from the EU, send someone to a third state, they have to have some kind of connection, Verbindung, to that state.
Yeah.
And what they're going to do is look at an initiative, this is on a European level, they're going to maybe look at getting rid of that law about the connection, so you can fuck everyone off to Rwanda even if they don't know where Rwanda is.
Oh, okay.
So that we can do deportations and just get rid of people, because that's cool. I understand we've had some like awful attacks in Germany recently from people who are migrants or emigrated here. How bad is it? It's not. It's fine.
Well, one of the people who actually stopped one of the attacks is also under threat of being deported. Did you hear about this? I mean, it's like...
It doesn't make any sense. It's just pandering to racism.
I mean...
Do I think it could be reformed? Yes. Do I think it's a good idea to... Anyway, fucking hell. But we're not having a conversation on a normal level, are we?
No.
None of this is ever normal.
No.
Right, what else is in there?
What do we have? We had a few tax cuts.
Yes, I think the SPD were really into that.
Ukrainian refugees will no longer be getting the Bürgergeld, the unemployment benefit was agreed. And in fact, Bürgergeld itself will be changed to something called a Grundsicherung.
For Arbeitssuchende.
Yeah, it's just a different name, but
let's
I don't know.
not call them citizens. Let's remind everybody that they're unemployed or looking for work.
That is probably at one point where the SPD did not get its way, and it's going to be interesting to see how their members react to it, because with the SPD, the members have to vote for this coalition contract too, which is going to happen soon. And also, Friedrich Merz is expected to become Chancellor early May sometime. Okay.
God.
We'll be there for that. Listen.
Hilariously for Söder, who's been going on and on about like, no more cannabis, meh, meh, meh. They say that in autumn 2025, they're going to do like an open to results evaluation of the cannabis legalization law. So that means absolutely nothing. Everyone can kiff away to your heart's content, everyone. I'm thinking of getting some. I don't partake, but I just think if you're allowed to be... I'm already growing lots of stuff on my balcony. So get some, and if people want to get in touch and buy it from me. Is that allowed? Oh God, am I not allowed to do that?
No, you're allowed 3 plants. I don't know.
Am I allowed to sell it to people? No.
No, I think you have to. I think you have to sell it to a club.
A Verein.
Yeah,
I think in a Verein is when you can have more. I don't know.
But you can't just stand on your balcony and sell it to passers-by. I think that's not...
No, I meant like pals. Okay. Pals. Like I don't know. I don't know.
I think that there's quite a lot of regulation. I'm not going to do any of that.
Involved. Never mind. Okay, so we don't know very much about this coalition for time because, I don't, because I've been paying very little attention. But it's happened.
It is a thing that is happening, and we'll keep you updated.
Yeah.
There's one good part of it, actually, is they are reducing the Gastrosteuer, what they call the Gastrosteuer. It's basically a VAT on restaurant food.
Which is very good, because a lot of places are struggling, as we know.
Well, especially small restaurants are really struggling with this. So there's a difference between... So in Germany, there are 2 rates of VAT. 7% and 19%. 7% is supposed to be for essentials like food, so supermarket food is only 7%. Mm-hmm. But up until now, restaurants have had it at 19%, and that has really killed a lot of profits for small places, for restaurants in general. And they lowered it to the lower rate during COVID because they realised this was really bad for small businesses, and loads of small businesses would have had to close. And then they raised it again, and now they're going to... Hopefully, they've decided they're going to lower it again for new. And this is a big deal for Markus Söder, whose bullet points. He was always talking about this because he, as we know, loves restaurants.
He fucking loves eating out. But this, I think it is good, and certainly, I can't speak for everywhere in Germany, but Berlin is somewhere that up until quite recent, it's still relatively affordable to eat out. It's not like prohibitively. No. To go and have a nice meal, and that is a nice thing to be able to do. It's something that people really, I imagine, would notice if that suddenly becomes beyond your reach.
Yeah, it's been noticeable how expensive it has got to eat out because of the food prices in general have gone up. That means that restaurants have to charge more, and then it is definitely you do notice
Yeah. So that's good. Any other good things? No?
Well, nothing. Well, no, not good things. There's not going to be a speed limit anytime soon on the Autobahn, which was a basic thing that they could have done in the last coalition, but was blocked by the FDP, of course.
It's fine. It's fine. Global warming isn't a thing.
Yeah.
We didn't have a fucking 30-degree day in the first 3 weeks of April the other day. It's grand. Keep driving. Just burn all of that fucking benzene. Just go at it, boys.
I suppose you could put on the good side is there's going to be major investment in Deutsche Bahn.
That's good. I fucking love the Bahn. You know, and everyone likes to shit on it now because we've had a few bad years. It has been bad. Put loads of money, take not all of the debt break stuff. Just give a lot of it to Deutsche Bahn. Because it is fun being at the Hauptbahnhof, which is like the biggest station in Europe, the world, something like that.
Is it? Yeah.
I think so.
Okay.
And you see the ICE rolling in.
Yeah.
They do look cool.
It has had a few really bad years. Do you remember there was the big story during the Euros when all the football fans couldn't get to the stadiums and everyone thought, what has happened to German trains? They were supposed to be really good and they've been like structurally eroded, undermined in the last few years. And so this is definitely, we'll have to see what happens, of course, but good signs. What else have we got? Oh, Olympiabewerbung.
What?
According to Markus Söder, that is in the coalition contract. Applying for the Olympics is going to be a thing.
He is such a fucking showboater, isn't he? An absolute... Yeah. He's just like this uncle you have who's just always doing things.
Oh, and this leads us on. Krankenhausreform is going to be overhauled. So the hospital reform...
I'm so sorry we're doing this. There's nothing worse than listening to someone who's not working for the UN trying to do simultaneous translation. Like, it's really bad, and we're sorry. But Krankenhaus reform is relevant.
Yes. So we regular listeners might remember that we did talk about Karl Lauterbach, the SPD health minister's big attempt to reform the entire healthcare system, especially the way that hospitals are organised. And his basic idea was to decentralise them, which would have so that not everyone has to go to hospital for everything, which would have meant so you'd have like all the different, basically splitting up all the different departments so that you'd have like more local specialists in different areas of different parts of your body, which is a good idea, but there was like a lot of people were very skeptical about it because of like the amount of logistical amount of money that it would have cost, and also the logistics of organising this. It would have been like a massive overhaul of like the healthcare system for 85 million people, and would have been really complicated. But I had some personal experience of this.
Yes, which is also
which made me realise
part of the reason we've not been able to, like, you've not been working.
Well, I went on a little holiday to hospital.
You did.
Last week, and I kind of understand what Karl Lauterbach was going on about, because so I went first to, as you do, to your GP this last week, and to have a thing checked out, and because she couldn't diagnose it immediately, in a way that I've also since learned that the way that doctors work is they try and rule out the worst. They kind of assume the worst and then start ruling things that are the worst out, and then trying to kind of move towards the less serious stuff. And so I had this thing. I had a kind of a weird lump in my leg, in my groinal area, and I didn't know what it was, and the GP didn't know what it was, and so she just said, "You have to go to hospital." And I said, "Oh, okay, that's a bit scary." And she said it could be a blood clot, which is really scary because you can like die, you know?
Yeah.
And so I went to hospital and I had to wait for 3 hours, and I had to go to A&E. There was no other option. I couldn't go to anywhere else in hospital. So essentially every sick person where the GP doesn't know what it is, you have to go through this A&E. And I don't know how it works in other countries, but that means that you're like stuck at this huge bottleneck of the whole system. So you're like queuing up with every other.
I think in a lot of places it must work like that, though, because I mean, I think the NHS has been running, and maybe this is what Germany is trying to do more, like a "don't come to A&E" campaign for quite a few years.
Yeah. Because then people have to wait for like I waited 3 hours, but I met someone there who said last time he'd been waiting 8 hours to be seen to, because they do the triage and then you're like there and it's this huge like crazy bottleneck because you're with every other sick person in the city essentially.
Yeah. It's
so
really...
I understand what Lauterbach was going on about. He was like saying we have to be able to deal with certain cases in the GP's office. Yeah. Ideally, but obviously that means funding GPs more, giving GPs more money on more training. Yeah. So in my case, I needed an ultrasound, and the GP didn't have an ultrasound. If I'd been privately insured, I probably would have been a lot easier. So yeah. So now I have firsthand. Now I kind of get it with the house reform. So, but I don't know how to. Like, I also understand that logistically and politically it's going to be so mental trying to organize that, because
it does seem like a huge beast, and like I'm just like thinking of how much I pay my health insurance every month, and it is a lot. And I also don't really understand, there's just like these 4 state insurers in Germany. Like, why are there different ones? Why is it not just the state one? And are those for profit? They must be.
Well, they make a lot of money. I don't know.
But then how is that? This is what I don't know. Maybe we need to do a deep dive.
We'll do.
Not now.
Not now.
Not now. But at some point.
We'll put that on the list of deep dives we should do. Yeah, so it's quite interesting. And also then, of course, you've got a lot of the populist parties, the AfD and the BSW, are like saying, oh, the SPD wanted to close down hospitals, because that's what it would have entailed. It would have entailed closing down some hospitals.
Which is always very unpopular.
It's always really unpopular, but the idea behind it is good, because would it be more efficient if we didn't have as much hospitals, if we were able to do like...
I don't know. Would you not just end up... this is the thing, I don't know.
Well, yeah, it's like difficult. But they are. I know that in other countries, for example, they do they put more money into preventative sort of healthcare, where, for example, they have special ambulances that only deal with homeless people, so that they go out but they don't wait till homeless people come into the hospital. They go out and try and look after them in the community, rather than getting them, like, waiting for them to get really
bad, and
then coming and going to A&E, and they do that with other cases like mental patients. Is that can you say that? I can't remember.
People experiencing mental illness.
Yeah, there's like a mental illness one.
Well, that sounds good.
So I know that's happening in Denmark, for example.
Okay.
So they have more specific, like more specialized doctors going out into the community rather than everyone waiting.
That always seems a better shout. But I think just in big cities and stuff, it's just, I don't know. It's so weird how things are dealt with in different countries, and like, why can't we just figure it out? And some things that are covered and some things aren't.
Oh yeah,
like it's just wild to me, all of it. You do miss the mega cans, I think.
Yeah, it doesn't quite have the same.
I'm like, why am I not feeling like a bit more energized? I'm just like, this beer is nice, but it's not. I'm like, my system isn't flooded with sugar and booze, so I'm like, fine, this is the news, it's okay. This is it.
Oh dear. Well, this might work you up. I have a fun story. Are you ready for your fun?
I doubt that. You always say it's fun, and then it's going to be something to do with, the usual shite. Nazis, climate change.
Well, so according to the AfD,
oh no,
Easter bunnies are being banned by supermarkets in favour, and this goes to show how Islamist Germany is becoming. So anyway, a guy.
Oh my God, it's this fucking war on Christmas shite again, isn't it?
Yeah. So AfD Bundestag member Johann Martel did a tweet in which he said... He did a tweet.
I know you've been using Twitter for many years.
And I can't say he did an X.
He tweeted.
He tweeted. Yeah, well, he X'd.
No, we're not using... It's you saying he did a tweet.
It's like he did a poo.
Yeah.
I don't know. So he went to Lidl.
He tweeted. What did he tweet?
He went to Aldi, and he went online. He went to the Aldi online, and he found an Easter bunny, which was not called an Easter bunny.
Okay.
It was called a Sitzhase instead of an Osterhase.
Okay.
A Sitzhase means a sitting bunny.
Yeah.
And then he said this goes to show that the creeping Islamization of Germany is progressing more and more, driven by the richest families in Germany, because famously the Aldi family is like the richest family in Germany.
Oh, wow. He's just really spraying the populist gun, isn't he? He's like, Muslims, elites. Fucking, what else is he saying?
So there was quite a funny fact check that was done by ARD and Deutsche Welle into whether or not the Osterhase is being replaced by the Sitzhase in Lidl and Aldi. And they came to the conclusion that it was not. And in fact, if you do go to Lidl and Aldi, you will find plenty of Easter bunnies that are actually also called Easter bunnies. And not only that, you will find an Osterkranz, an Easter wreath.
Yeah.
An Osterberliner, which is an Easter donut.
Yeah.
An Osterei-Praline, which is an Easter egg praline. An Osterstrauß, Easter flower bouquet.
Mm-hmm.
An
Easter sticks.
Osterkorb, Easter basket. And a baked Osterhase, Easter bunny pastry. So don't worry, racists.
It's fine.
It's fine. There are plenty of Easter bunnies that are called Easter bunnies that are not Muslim in your local supermarket.
Yeah.
And not only that, do you want some more history?
Sure. This is such a boring conversation for them to have, and like just getting everyone riled up. Like, you can't even say Easter anymore. Fuck you, East Germany. Do you know what you're famous for? Voting for the AfD and being the least religious place in the fucking world, I think. Yeah. Like, the least. So don't come at me about the Easter bunny when none of you cunts are going to fucking church on Easter. Like, I know it. Don't, like, there you go. You got me riled up.
I knew it would work.
Still got it.
Still got it.
But, like, it's so fucking dumb. Like, no one cares about anything. And then you're like, oh, everyone, what does it matter?
And not only that, the idea of even changing the name. So there was one Easter bunny which was called a Sitzhase.
I can see it. It's the Mosso Roth thing, which I think is the Aldi like old brand of chocolate, which is pretty fucking delicious.
Okay, good to know.
This is good. Or like
tip.
A brand I've only seen in Aldi, put it that way. I don't know if it's exactly theirs.
So Milka in 1973 introduced a Schmunzelhase.
Oh.
Which is a grinning bunny or smirking bunny. And the famous Lindt golden bunny has been called the golden bunny, the Goldhase, since 1952.
Yeah.
And not only that, the actual word Sitzhase was first found, according to this fact check that I was looking at, in April 1938. So Nazi Germany, even Nazi Germany had
there.
Sitzhasen.
You should be mad. Oh, he's going to be livid when he finds out the Sitzhase is the Nazi Hase, and he has been denigrating it in his tweets. Ha! Joke's on you, you loser.
Yeah. So.
You just made fun of the Nazi rabbit when you should have been loving it.
Yeah, exactly. Good.
Oh, that was quite a fun story. What an absolute fucking twat. But like this is just it. This like weird, it's so boring to have these conversations when it's just also pointless. Oh, also the people, what did they do in the Free University this week? I think there was a big protest, wasn't there? They took over a lecture hall for Palestinian solidarity because Palestine is still being bombed to actual obliteration. And obviously everyone went mental, and the the cops were called by the university head. And my point is, now we're doing this thing of like, these placards cross the line and we're going to like endlessly police what students are writing on posters to see if they can criminalize them, when these people, what these protesters are protesting is the legally unjustified deportation of 4 people who've not been convicted of anything. Yeah. But hey, no, let's talk about the fucking Sitzhase and the posters and all of that nonsense. What a shower of nonsense. Don't even get me started on the UK. Don't want to talk about that fucking shite that's happened with the Supreme Court decision.
And also there was a protest outside the Irish embassy, wasn't there? Where the police came and said you can't speak Irish. That happened again.
Oh, they're always doing that because they have to constantly police people's language, because we're still living in this absolute nonsense propaganda that people are calling for the destruction of Israel, when really what people are saying is like, this is what's so insane. We are literally watching the destruction of a land, and yet we are concerned that some signs could be interpreted as calling for the destruction of the land, which is doing the destruction of the other land. This is fucked. It's fucked.
Nice. Yeah.
And we're still all just being like, oh, well, you know, Hamas.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. I really would like a chocolate bunny now. Easter or sits or grinning or smirking or otherwise. I'll even take a Nazi one at this stage so I can devour it.
Bite its ears off. Good.
There we go.
That's all.
Well, I'm glad that you're feeling better.
Yeah, I'm feeling a lot better now.
And that at least you got to know about the hospital system. It's all, you know, it's horrible also, being in hospital.
Yeah, it's hell. Also, the worst food I've ever had. It's like...
Literally, so I was in hospital in October.
Like they're trying to make you, demoralize you.
And I love shitty canteen food. Like, I am never happier, honestly. Hotel breakfast is my favorite food. And shortly after that, like, I'm never happier than when I have like one of those trays. You know, those, like, I don't even know what material it is, but like fake wood covered in lacquer. You know what I'm talking about? Canteen tray. Never happier. And I find the food in the hospital in October to be inedible. And I don't mean that like I was just a bit like, oh, I didn't like it. Because a lot of people have been like, oh, canteen food. Oh, I couldn't eat that. I couldn't eat a McDonald's. Oh, literally, I couldn't eat it. It was so disgusting. Yeah. Like, it didn't seem like food.
No, I had, my lunch was some overcooked pasta. It was really overcooked. It was all soggy, and then some like this tomato sauce that was just sort of sticky. I
know exactly that thing, and I was like, oh yeah, shitty. I love overcooked pasta. I always overcook my pasta because I have no class, and that was the thing. And I felt like that sauce was like packet sauce, which again, something I really love. One of my favorite things to eat is actually a packet from the UK of something called pasta in sauce. Like, I love it. It's a real treat. But this, whatever it was, it felt almost like the sauce was like a tomato soup or something that they just fired in.
Yeah, it was weirdly sugary, and it
sounds good the way you're describing it. I mean, it sounds good to me, like a really sweet sauce and like completely formless pasta which will gum in your mouth. Yeah. But something happens to it where like you can't eat it, and it is.
Yeah. It just made me feel sicker.
Yeah.
It made me feel ill. Anyway, so hospital. Glad I'm not there anymore.
Yeah.
And thanks very much.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Yeah. Happy Easter if you celebrate, or.
Well, you'd better celebrate, because otherwise you're going to be arrested for, I don't know, crimes against, I don't know.
This is the first Easter in ages where the Orthodox has the same Easter as us. Did you know that? Yeah.
I know. That's why I booked flights to go to Greece, because I was like, what am I doing? Why? I love Greek Easter.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah. Cool. Oh, well, enjoy Greek Easter.
Thanks.
And talk next time.
Yeah. enjoy your long weekend, everybody. Or I hope you enjoyed it if you're listening to this after a mega set. Well done. You were charming the entire time. Don't worry about anything.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
German news in English with a cocktail can. The German news, it's quite a test. With Megan's Mega, you're feeling refreshed. Ooh. Megan's Mega can. German news in English with a cocktail can. Deutsche Nachrichten sind düster und schwer. Down the Mega.
Defy the fear.
Yeah.
It's actually quite a positive message to give to people.
So.
I like to think that we have quite a positive impact on our listeners.
I hope so.
Because we try and get them to defy the fear of listening to the news all day.
I mean, it's better than reading a German newspaper. Surely.
I would definitely recommend listening to our podcast more than reading any German newspaper.
German newspapers barely have pictures. Like fucking, it's just a brick of text.
Oh yes. Yeah, and they seem to make a virtue of it. They think it's like so great to have no text.
Not like you Americans
no
with your fucking
colour pictures.
decadent pictures in your newspapers.
Yeah,
What's that? A crossword puzzle? Oh, no wonder you had Trump. Jesus Christ, everyone! Like, there's a middle ground.
You have to concentrate on the news. It's very important, and you have to keep it there.
Just have a mega.
Have a mega. Give us a picture every now and then.
Just a wee picture, maybe of,
yeah,
a diagram.